Continuing here. So, yeah, when it's investigated, because all the employers go into an uproar about being forced by law, mandate of law, that they have to pay their workers more money, the employers say, well, what the hell kind of deal is that? I don't want to have to pay that. It's going to hurt me. Might put me out of business. So they've got a valid, legitimate argument. So they should take it and they should get to the bottom of it. They should insist on a government investigation if there is collusion going on, price rigging, market manipulation going on. And when they do that and they discover there is, like Jimmy Carter did, and that's why he wouldn't allow them to, jack up the price of gasoline just willy-nilly for no capitalistic reason, just because they're greedy, they're insatiable, and they want more money. It's as simple as that. More power, more control. That's what more money gives you. So you understand that we would have gotten to the bottom of it, that these problems never would have gotten out of hand. The problem of this wealth imbalance, okay, this disparity. And then Alex Jones and other people, they act like all this, they won't bring up these points. It's happening in a vacuum. We don't know where all these crazy socialists are coming from. They live in the land of opportunity, the best house in a bad neighborhood, and they should all be just happy and suck it up that minimum wages keep going down and down and down, because mathematically speaking, if you don't get a commensurate cost of living adjustment, then your wages, your income just went down. You understand? If your cost of living's going up and your wages don't keep up with it, mathematically, there's absolutely no difference than if your wages went down. So I am opposed to that. Does Alex Jones talk to that and say, well, this is why it's turning everybody socialistic? And you say, well, they don't know what they're talking about. Fine, explain that we haven't had true capitalism. If we had, it would have led to prosperity across the board. And then what Victor Hugo said would have had no relevance. And that's the state we're looking for, because that's the state God wants us to have. Prosperity from birth. Thus saith the Lord, dude. Money cannot be the boss, the master, okay, the ruler over the affairs of men forever, deciding who is free and who is not, with nothing that makes sense. There's no substance to it. Okay, none at all. Hell, bartering all over these thousands of years would have been one whole hell of a lot more fair. Okay, that's it. I mean, it's just nonsense, absolute nonsense, and we're in it so deep. And it's so frightening because people love money. I mean, you just see it everywhere, that if people don't make a deliberate, conscious attempt to not be evil, an evil money lover, they will be, and they will love money more than people. And if a lot of people were sat down and said, listen, God said, look, judgment day is here, okay, and I know your heart, and I was watching your heart as you went through life, and I saw that, that you loved your money, and that, I felt like if I had asked you any time, would you be willing to relinquish your fortune to save half the Earth's population, what would you have chosen? Okay, and for a lot of people, it's like Jesus explained. I mean, the rich go away very sorrowful when they're told, hey, you got to give it all to the poor, and this is how you find riches in the kingdom of heaven. They don't want riches in the kingdom. They want riches now in this temporary, temporal existence. That's what they care about more than people. So if it meant genocide en masse, as long as they felt like they got to keep their fortune and they weren't one of the ones being put to death, then they're going to be fine. And I see that just permeates our society. It's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. People out there, many elitists, think that they got their 401k, or their parents are wealthy landlords and they're going to inherit it someday. I mean, what's going on? It's so sad that people are inadvertently evil so often, I feel. And it's God, we're in trouble because they're the ones with the power to change things, okay? They have that. If you have the money, you have the resources, the worldly resources, the satanic resources to affect change. But if your hearts are evil and corrupt and you choose money over people, man, you understand why I'm scared? I'm scared for humanity, what it's going to take to wake us up. It's like it's going to take God literally grabbing the freaking planet with his own hands and shaking the crap out of it like it's predicted in the Bible, some kind of earthquake that's just going to, forget California. It'd be great if California broke off from the mainland, would be an island out here. Okay, and, would have all the food. I mean, the rest of the planet would starve to death without California, and, people would go nuts without all their wine that comes out of California. But, hey, listen, Okay, big changes at the hand of God, literally, is what it's going to take. If Trump gets anything done, and I do believe he's a good guy, look, he can be I get it, a pompous a-hole. I mean, what multi-billionaire, I mean, how do you get to be a multi-billionaire without being, a little bit, you got to be a little cocky, I mean, in your business dealings, and you got to be a little, be willing to step on some toes, because that's what it takes. That's all it really takes. Say, look, I'm going up this ladder, and ain't nobody can stop me. I mean, I could easily do it. I could teach you how to do it if you wanted to do it. Trump could too. He's done it. I mean, he's got his own university and all this crap, but you just got to be, like Rich Dad, you got to get out there and be aggressive, okay? You buy one house, you grab the low-hanging fruit, you dash the hopes and dreams of some struggling young couple that's desperately hoping to enter middle-class home ownership and the American dream. So first, I got to go out there and I got to take that stuff off the market, man. That's taboo. You cannot allow the poor struggling couple, okay, to get a foothold, because this is about stealing wealth. Okay, so what I do, I go out there with my good credit, and I go out there and I get a loan, and I buy this fixer-upper, and I hire undocumented workers, okay, to go and fix this place up, and on the lowdown, right? Because we don't want to bring attention, so we don't hire contractor. Anybody that calls himself a contractor, we just hire people for, what is it, under $500 or $600. If you pay a handyman to do work, you don't have to, they can do it without being a contractor. So you get these people to restore this fixer-upper. All of a sudden, you say, hey, now, banker, what's this house worth? He says, well, it's worth this now. And so you take that and you take your profits. You just raise your rent up. You say, well, I'm going to have the highest rents in this neighborhood because, I'm going to be a role model for the other landlords. So I want to be respected among my peers. So I got to have the highest rents in town. See how this thing works. That's the way it works. And then you go and you snap up another one and another one and another one. And you do the same thing. You just repeat and repeat. Okay. Rinse and repeat, right? And then you move up. You move up the scale and you start getting into property developments, and you get the, location. So we all know that, any hotel that's anywhere near the coast, ocean view, you're going to be successful. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to be able to charge hundreds of dollars, thousands, God knows what. But so, this is how it works. This is what Trump did. Okay, so he's just one thing, and then he expanded. He got into this business, that business. Yeah, and you can do that. So it's not hard, but you got to be, I'm not saying Trump was cutthroat. He had a good start. He had $1 million his dad gave him to, starter cash. So he did have an advantage. But listen, I can understand why a lot of people resist. Look, I did too. I didn't know anything about Trump. All I knew is a multi-billionaire. I don't give a crap about Trump. Before he ran for president, okay, I didn't give a crap. And it was only one thing that got me on board with Trump. One thing that he said, one statement he said, that made me think, damn it, I'm all in, man. That's it. Boom. Push my chips in, man, into the kitty. And that was that he was ashamed of homelessness in America. And I, too, share that sentiment. I am ashamed of homelessness in America. Okay, and we got to stop this, man. And Trump, this is it, man. This is so anti-establishmentarian, because the establishment, look, dude, if people aren't dying out in the cold, do you think they're going to be able to extract these exorbitant rents and mortgages they are? No. People need to be living in abject fear to extract the kind of rents and mortgages they are. Fear of homelessness. So they'll do anything, man. They don't care. I mean, sell drugs. I mean, go rob a convenience store, embezzle, extort, kidnap, carjack, you name it. I mean, they'll do it to survive. And the pride, and a lot of people, I'll never go on welfare, but they'll do a lot of other things, like white-collar crime and just all kinds of stuff, just crime. It's a driver. It's what induces the vast majority of crime. So when you're honest and you get a clear picture, like I have, of this thing, then we're going to start seeing changes, because people are going to find it palatable. When you're not picking on them because they're a socialist, because they believe what they believe, they've been lied to. Remember who's doing this. These people that claim to be capitalists, they're not even crony capitalists, they're fascist. The governments get involved because they realize, hey, they know what side their bread is buttered on. So as long as they get commensurate cost of living adjustments, they don't mind raising your cost of living because you're not in on it. You're out of the loop. Do you understand? When the taxes go up, they don't go into your coffer. Okay, they don't go into your pocket. Okay, but if you're government, they do. So these are the colluding special interest groups. Like I'm talking about, what's raising your cost of living needs to be addressed. Who's doing this? Why are they doing it? Well, it's clear so that they can steal your wealth. It's profitable to them to do it, to be cutthroat, to not care about people, to care about money more than people. So you see the problem we've got in society and how much trouble we're in and how it's literally going to take an act of God, not an act of Trump, okay, to fix this thing. But I want to explain to people why I support Trump. Okay, we've got to solve this problem, man. This is shameful. A land of milk and honey, the exemplification of a land of milk and honey, America, my beloved nation, a land of freedom, the land of the free, the home of the brave, and all this crap. Let's show it, because I mean it's just not true at this point. We've been losing our freedom for a long time. I'm talking about economic freedom. Yes, how do you think you oppress people? It's not an archaic term, okay? You steal their labors. That's what they're doing. You know, I was thinking about this thing. I know I got my thoughts all muddied up last week. I was trying to read something I had written. I thought, what in the hell was I thinking here? But then it came to me later, and I was thinking, okay, this was the point I was trying to make. Is so often we think of our employer, our boss, as our master, but really it's those that we pay a cost of living too. So really your master, since they're paying you, are really, you're their master. Okay, they got to pay you a cost of living tax. Serving is a pleasure. Look at all the volunteerism out there. Okay, it's everywhere. Really good-hearted, benevolent, selfless, giving people are out there just, doing what they can to help humanity and for free, and it even might cost them. So these are really good, decent, upright people. And, hey, what can you say about these people? Okay? Nothing bad. But then there's the flip side, looking at it from the point of view of somebody that needs money, and these people are coming in. So not only are they worse than a scab to do those jobs, okay, who'll do it for less money and bust up your union, but they'll do it for absolute free. Okay, so I mean, they're the ultimate scab, a volunteer. I'm just saying, we've got to look at this picture on a whole, the insanity that has taken over our culture, our society, civilization-wide. And we're in a lot of trouble, folks. Okay, we're in a lot of trouble. But you understand how it is like that who you got to pay your cost of living to, you're out there serving them. Because you got to go out, make that money, and then you take that money and you give it over to your master. You understand? Whoever you're paying it to. So I feel like there's a huge lack of understanding, a huge departure from understanding. There's a lot of confusion, wanton confusion, and wanton ignorance, and a lot of it is because it hurts people's head. So they choose to bury their head in the sand, prescribe to an ignorance is bliss philosophy, and just say, you know what, I'm taking the path of least resistance, and so they become indifferent, and they become complacent, and they just are quietly evil. And they don't know it, but Satan's got them by the throat, because on Judgment Day, when they've got to give account, when they've got to show some semblance, when they got to have oil in their lamp, using the analogy of the 10 virgins, when they've got to have a credo, a belief system, a philosophy that holds water, when they've got to prove evidentiarially that they have valued things, those invisible qualities of their essence, the eternal parts of them, the invisible parts, that live forever, the heart, the soul, the spirit, the mind, all these beautiful things, they got to show that they really valued those things, that those things were relevant to them, and that they cared about those things. Okay, by the way they lived their lives and the belief system they prescribed to, did they really do their level best, for instance, to live by the golden rule and treat others the way they want to be treated for real? Prayerfully, when you ask God for counsel and say, am I really being true about this, or am I biased? Am I, because of my own self-interest, perceived self-interest, and perception being reality? It's very powerful. that it powerfully influenced my belief system. So I'm just telling everybody's got to ask those questions, and we've got to understand that the things the way they are today in our society did not happen in a vacuum. The evildoers are hitting roadblocks because they don't have really an escape plan that's viable. They don't know. They've got this nebulous idea that they're going to get rid of the vast majority of people, and they haven't ever figured, well, people didn't go for that in the Holocaust. People didn't like, when they heard around the world that people were being sent off to concentration camps, they weren't too happy, and they meted out war against you, and they kicked your ass. So with this Georgia Guidestones, I'm making reference to that, and getting rid of the vast majority of people upon